And welcome back to part 10 of Death End Request 2, where today we're in the mountain path as we continued our trek south following the map that we got from Arita's old laptop. That being said, as an apology for yesterday's part being so short just because of the nightmare I went through trying to record that video, I'll try and make up for it by having this video be a bit longer, so a good 36 minutes seems alright, don't you think? As I've always tried to say, if I can help it, I try to avoid videos going above 45 minutes. I just don't really like videos being too long. The sweet spot for me is anywhere between 25 and 40, so this being 36 minutes I think is a healthy length. Like, I don't mind it going above 40 and being around 44, 45, but if it's going above 45 it needs to be a damn good reason as far as I'm concerned. More often than not, that reason being not enough plot progression is made for me to justify making the video shorter than that. This is another scripted Shadow Matter location. It'll always appear over there, and it's very easy to avoid. Even though there's only one way through that path over there, because this leads to a dead end, there's railing on the sidewalks, or pavements if you're, not in the US. And so you can just walk on the other side of the railing and it won't get you, because you'll have to find a gap in the railing before it can. And so by the time you've run past, it's fine. We have a lot of fresh encounters here. We have a few returning from the shopping district as well, but for the sake of having a bit more video to show, unless it's not our first time encountering an enemy in this area, I keep it in. So even if we fought an enemy, like we fought these guys in the shopping district, but we haven't fought them here yet, so I keep it in. If you recall, way back when I recorded Neptunia V2R, which actually I've got a thing I want to talk about that as well, because that came out very recently. I did the same thing in that one. If there was an enemy that returned in the following dungeon, my first encounter with it in that area I would keep. Just so then the video it was a bit more fleshed out and there was more combat and actual gameplay, because the Neptunia series reuses a lot of enemies for a large stretch. But the quick thing I wanted to talk about is I got an email from YouTube yesterday and I had to laugh because I just saw it and I was like, alright, after a year and 4 months since I did that Let's Play, they finally had a problem with part 11, I think it was. The one where the thumbnail was Adult Nep, Uzume, and Netgear all sitting in the bath together, and it's basically soft porn. It's the only way to put it. It was like proper ecchi as hell. And I made that the thumbnail because I thought, screw it. It took them a year and 4 months to have a problem with that. I got an email saying we changed the thumbnail because it was breaching guidelines, and I was like, is it though? But alright. I was surprised they cared after a year and 4 months. Like, they just changed the thumbnail. I don't care that much. I'm not losing sleep over it. It didn't bug me like it did when they were attacking me for the Data Live videos every single day. It was just funny. I just looked at it and went, alright, I just let it have it. So for now, if you go into the Neptunia project, you can see which one YouTube had a problem with, because it's the only one that doesn't really have a thumbnail. It's just a random stop of a text box, I think it is. It's between Adult Nep and Netgear, there's just a text box and that's it. And I'll go back and sort it eventually, but I'm just finding it funny. I'm half tempted to actually just leave it just for the fuck of it. But back on the topic of this, enemies are going to start dropping clear nodes. Try and grind up as many of them as you can now, because there's side quests for turning them in later on, and it's better to just grind out a crap ton now if you can help it, so you don't have to worry about it later on, because later on they ask for quite a few for some of the side quests. And like I said, if you want to view these optional scenes, you need to be doing them. The plus side is, of the 3 side quests you get in this chapter, one of them can be done now, as we did it because it was the shopping mission. The other 2 cannot be done until tomorrow in the game timeline. Because there's a Drin Blue we need to pick up, and there is a enemy type we need to kill 2 of. But the enemy type in question won't appear normally until we encounter it as a normal enemy. As we encounter it as a mini-boss, sorry. So we've got a mini-boss encounter of a thing called the Killing Filler, and then afterwards it will start appearing normally, so that's another one that we just can't do today. And don't worry, if there's a side quest that you're like, oh god, I can't do it today, maybe I'm going to get locked out, your ultimate deadline for side quests is always the end of the chapter. You should always, no matter what, check your surroundings and check out everything to try and see if you can have the side quest done as, on the day you get it. Because there's a number of them that are kind of cheeky, that you actually can, but you don't realise you can. Also, we get one of my favourite skills. We've got the ability to lower enemies' defences. It's not my ultimate favourite skill that Mai gets, which she also gets this part, I want to point out. There's a skill, every character in the game, of the main 3, gets a skill where they will get 1.5 times the damage multiplier on one of their elements. Like Mai's being the most broken because it's just star element does more damage. Rottie gets a slightly weaker version where it's sun elemental, but it's like I think it's only magic. And then our third character gets one, but it's only physical. Also, that was a model up I made yesterday as well. Mai is star elemental, not moon.
Rottie, do it.
At least I think she is. I'm getting muddled now. Based on the map, it's deeper into the woods. So, just what are we finding here? Oh, and that's it. Okay. I waited for nothing. Get used to that tunnel being a nightmare to get optional dialogues. As I said, every time you go the wrong way, there's dialogue on the wrong path. So when we're done here, we'll be coming back here a few times anyway for the dialogue. There's the enemies that spawn here will alter after like the next couple days, and one of the spawns is literally like on that line. So if you want it, you either need to be over leveled so the enemy leaves you alone, because if you over level enemies, they won't chase after you. Or you've got to be really quick and just running into it, running out, or maybe hitting the options button so you can bring up the map, because dialogue continues on the map screen. I am not looking forward to having to do it myself, but yeah. It is something you have to just deal with. But yeah, and the Drin Blue is available in the next area, but it's beyond a event marker that ends the day. So we have to get it tomorrow. There is one in particular coming up later on, which I'll bring mention to when it comes up, which you do have to kind of stop what you're doing and grind for. Which is also why, like, you're seeing me fight a lot of enemies on the way, but you're not seeing me go out of my way to, like, hunt down fights like I did in Neptunia, Death End 1, and Dragonstar. Well, I say that, in Dragonstar I did it a little less because of the time limit. But you're seeing, like, I'll go the main paths and show off the main paths, but if I have to backtrack for an enemy that's already there, I won't, like, say, oh, they're right there, go get them. Because I know I'm going to be grinding out to get a side quest done, just so I can show off more of the plot a little later on. So it's to try and balance out not letting me get over leveled. Because unlike the first game, you're unlikely to be level 99 by the time you reach the end of this. In fact, I'm willing to bet you'll be anywhere between level 60 and 75, depending on how much grinding you did. I was level 60, like dead on, I think, when I reached the end. Which you might sit there and go, well, hang on a minute, but I'm leveling up insanely quick. We're only on like chapter 2, chapter 3. How are we leveling up so quickly? Why do you mean we're going to be at level 60 by the time we get there? Don't worry, leveling of course slows down as you go on. Like with level 28 and 27, but the main reason it's leveling you up so quickly early on is so it can unlock you more skills to give you more diversity. Oh, this is one of the more interesting locations. There's actually 3 scripted Shadow Matter spots, but there's like a 50-50 chance that they will trigger when you pass it by. And the reason why they did that is because you can theoretically have 3 Shadow Matters chasing you at once if you run between all 3 of the triggers. Which I attempt to show off in this recording, because I have had it happen once where I've had 3 Shadow Matters on me.
How is it?
Which is something I wish it wasn't something that could only be done by accident. I wish it was something that they committed to. Make it so, like, as the game went on, like, you could have 2 or 3 Shadow Matters. So I run over here, there's your second one. See that we've got one there, and we've got one there. And if you take the left path, there's also a chance one will spawn on that path. So it's like 50-50, I want to say. So you're going to see me book it and try and go back round to trigger a third. And unfortunately, I don't get it the third time round to get all 3, because it would have triggered by now. It triggers as you're going up the slope, but I just didn't get it, so I was like, oh well. So I go over back to this enemy and just wrap this up. Also, for the sake of keeping the gameplay, well, keeping more of the gameplay, I decided to keep a few encounters in where I unlock new skills, even if there's enemies that I've already fought in it. Or if just something interesting happens, which something interesting happens bit as something I've always done. Which is annoying that I have to say out loud, because if you look back on all the projects I've done, where it's especially like turn-based JRPGs, like, you know, every Idea Factory game I've played on this channel, it's rare that something interesting happens. Like, I think the only like recent one that comes to memory was the random game over I tanked, and those frog-like dragons, which they reused the asset for that in this, by the way. The Chrome Lodgers, that's what I was thinking of. They reused the asset of those guys in this game, which makes sense because, you know, they're a frog, not a dragon. We also get a mighty ring, which is nice to have at this stage in the game.
I'll use this.
Giving it to Mai.
I think you'll make it, Rottie.
And it's like, I think those two are the only real significant encounters off memory I can think of. Like, we rarely get really interesting encounters that I didn't plan on cutting out anyway. But I always want to put it out there that I can, just in case. Also, you could do this in the first game as well, but it wasn't as loose as it is in this one. When you do group-wide attacks or knockback attacks, and the camera does it zoom out, also you get Luna dying, which is great to have. You can spin the camera whilst it's doing the zoom out, and the reason why I think they let you do it more in this one is because in the mountain path area, it's very likely for it to get stuck behind leaves. It happens more in the PC version because the foliage on the PC version is more detailed, so it's wider. Well, assuming you run the game on higher specs, it can be. Which, that's the thing, like, the oddest thing about Death End 2 for me is the inconsistency of its frame rate. There are some parts of this game where it is running locked at 60, and there's a lot of other parts in this game that's running locked at 30. And it's like, just make the whole game 30 if all of it can't do it then. The fact that it's inconsistent, like the main menu screen is 60. And yet, like, this mountain area is 30. Not that you can tell, because the PS4, my PS4 Slim's built-in recording only records at 30 frames anyway. And it was something that, if it wasn't for the fact that the PS5 and Xbox Series X are coming out in a couple months, I probably would have invested in a PlayStation 4 Pro just so I can record at a higher fidelity and frame rate, because I feel like it's about time I upgrade. 720p, it feels like I've been behind the curve for a while now. But at this point, I'm just going to wait until I get a PS5. That being said, though, just because it's coming out next month doesn't mean I'm getting it next month. I have no intention of getting a PlayStation 5 until the games I want are for it. And that's something I have always done. It's the same reason it took me until mid-2015 to get my PS4. I only step up the console when the things I specifically want are on it. And so in this instance, I would say Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition, but the main thing I care about that is coming to PS4 anyway. So Final Fantasy 16, which will probably be another year and a half yet. Because they've shown off gameplay and I have every faith in Yoshi P. So I think like end of 2021, maybe early 2022 it will come out. Actually, I'm leaning more towards early 2022, because I think like March/April time is the sort of time slots they like to hit. If the 7 remake and Kingdom Hearts 3 was anything to go by. I say that Kingdom Hearts 3 was a January game. It was still what I fit into that kind of early year slot that they like to go for. The only real exception was 15, but 15, after 10 years of on and off development, different directors and different engines and different plots and yada yada, I think they just wanted to get it out. Also, we have just got Stud Ball, which is an amazing skill, and it's my favourite skill Mai gets. Because it makes it so your star elemental attacks do 1.5 damage.
We don't have a combo attack of love together.
I kept this exchange in because I just... It's just Rottie. I love Rottie. Rottie's not only my favourite game of this character, it's my favourite Death End character, full stop. Rottie is such a goof. Which is funny because when I start my blind playthrough at Death End 2, the moment Rottie started flirting with Mai, I was like, oh, she's just going to be a more exaggerated version of Lily in the first game, where Lily like really liked Sheena, but nothing ever happened of it. But no, they like go all in and commit to it in this, and I live for it. I genuinely live for it. It's such a fun thing for a character, and it's just. I think the biggest thing to me is that they don't just use it as a joke. They actually use it as a baseline for both Rottie and Mai's character development throughout the story. And being able to use it in that way, also that fucker just ran away from her, so cheers. The fact that they use it for like the baseline of their development makes it more interesting naturally. Whilst in Death End 1, Lily's crush on Sheena was just kind of that. It was something that they spent a lot of time on when it was just those two, but as soon as Al showed up, they kind of put it to the side for a lot of it, and only like occasionally brought it back up. Especially if you played the DLCs, then they kind of brought it up a little bit more. Which, speaking of, this game doesn't have like DLC areas or anything like that. But only the first game had DLC areas. If they ever come back to it and add DLC areas to this, that's fine. Like, I'll happily go back into it. And I've got a little bit of a hunch that they might be adding more to this. I don't know, because I don't think anything new's been added to the Japanese version. The Japanese version is months older. but there is a track in the official soundtrack that doesn't play once in this game, and I have done both the main path and New Game Plus path. I've got every single ending and 100%ed it, and not once has it ever played, which is odd. And it makes me think that it's either it might just be an unused track. There's always a good chance it is just that, but it just seems odd because it's a full track. It's like a good minute and 40 seconds long, and if you get the collector's edition, it's in the soundtrack CD. It's there, and it's not even like the last track. Like if it was the very last track, I'd be like, okay, yeah, it's probably more unused because that's usually where they go. But it's not. It's before like 3 different tracks that definitely do play in this game because we've already heard like all three of them, I think. Yeah, we have. I just had to think about it. I was like, we've heard the goofy piano beat that plays whenever Rottie's up to something. We've heard the Shadow Matters, like, ominous tune. Like, I can't remember what the third one's off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure we've heard it because the late game stuff is, like, right in the middle of the soundtrack CD. But it's like, what's with that track? Like, and it's a great track, too. It's an aggressive piano that goes into a vocal track, for goodness sake. It's not actually that long. It's, like, just over a minute. But it's a cool vocal track, and it's actually the vocal track that played in the very, very first Japanese teaser. It made up the second half of that teaser trailer. Because the first half was the piano piece that we heard that became the shopping district theme. But the second one was this super loud, aggressive, but pretty fucking cool track. It's just now only in the soundtrack, and it's just kind of odd. But anyway, I'll let that go for now. This seems... What's up, Rottie? This is where they found Vina. Really? Yeah, there's something familiar about this spot. It matches up with what I heard. Hey, Mai, can we leave? We shouldn't go any deeper into the forest. Why not? I know it's dangerous, but we've been... Ah! A monster? We need to run, Mai. Nope, let's deal with it. And this is the mini-boss I was on about that becomes a normal enemy after you deal with it. Similar to the Gigas guy we fought before and the fairy guys thing we fought before. There's a lot of mini-bosses that become normal enemies, which is why I really don't count them as anything special. And it's only at the end of this chapter that it matters. But this is your first killing filler. And like I said, you want to pay attention to it. And you see me double check, because that's a bad habit. You're going to see me accidentally do a few times. If I go to check an enemy, I'll either do it to see their element, or do it to see if they're more defensive or magic defensive. But then forget to check the other one when it'd actually be helpful to check both. So you saw me check it, and way to check its defense, see, okay, it's weaker physical. And then I forgot immediately that it was sun, so I had to check again. Which means it's weak to moon. As it tells you to, it says effective on sun. Unfortunately, Rottie doesn't have many good moon skills because, you know, she is sun-based, so of course she's not going to have many skills that are effective against the element she is. But that being said, she gets Speed Star later on. Or I think that's what it's called. It's called Speed Star or Speed Star, but it's spaced out, so it's 2 separate words. But she gets the skill later on, and it's like the best moon skill in the game because it hits the entire arena no matter what. And it has knockback. So you can just like angle yourself, make Rottie face whatever direction you want the enemies to go, and then activate it. But as you can tell, it is just a normal enemy with a little bit higher health and a boss status because it's dead already. But that's your first killing filler, so when we come back the next day in game, make sure to look out for another one because they will now start spawning naturally. We beat it. Close one. Rottie, are you hurt? I'm fine, Mai. Sorry. I told you I'm your protector, but you're the one protecting me. No problem, as long as you're safe. Hey, what's this? The monster's a shadow matter, right? I found a crumpled piece of paper next to it, like someone crushed it in their fist. Was this here before? Huh? What is it, Mai? I found it on the floor. I unfolded it, but all that was written were mysterious numbers and symbols. Looks like rubbish to me. It might be... Something clicked. I took out the laptop and entered it into the PC. Password accepted. Verification complete. My shot in the dark worked. Fireworks lit off in my chest. I struggled for so long to find a clue. It was nice to move forward at last. Yes! Now I can access a new system. Really? Nice, Mai. Rottie, do you even know what I'm talking about? Nope. Figures. But if you're happy, I'm happy. With a grin from ear to ear, she threw her arms around me. The gesture was kind but foreign to me. Affection was never something I got. But I didn't mind. She's warming up to Rottie. That's it. That's what I mean. Like, she's starting to warm up to Rottie. She's starting to push her away less. Oh, morning, Mai. I scratched the morning glory from my eye, stretching out my arms as Rottie peeked her head out from the bathroom with a smile. We were out late last night battling the shadow matter. I wish I was back in bed. Come on, get out of bed or you'll miss breakfast. I got halfway into changing my outfit before I succumbed to exhaustion and passed out again. 5 more minutes. Hey, don't fall asleep. Oh, come in. Ah! Someone knocked on the door in case you didn't hear. My, Rottie, good morning. My? Liliana? Rottie suddenly lost her balance and toppled over me, making for an awkward entrance for Liliana. Of course! Of course! Liliana? My, you're so soft. She started rubbing her cheek on me. The nerve of this girl! Your perfume. Okay, get off of me. Ugh, my, you pushed me. I might love you, but not that much. I shoved Rottie to the floor. I ignored her as she pouted haltingly on the ground. I couldn't let Liliana see me so sloven. Sorry, were you still resting? No, of course not. See, I'm changing everything. Glad I didn't intrude. You never do. You're always welcome here. You wouldn't get out of bed no matter how many times I pleaded. I ignored her. So what do you want? Oh, well, if you wouldn't mind, I wanted to accompany you two today. Want us to give you a tour? No, but I noticed you two go from one place to the next rather quickly. So if there's some trouble you two are in, I want to help. We're not in any trouble. But during free period, while others chatter in their rooms and visit the common area, you both are always on the move. So I'd like to help. What do you say, Mai? There was a hint of worry in Rottie's eyes, but I trusted Liliana. I didn't mind her tagging along. You see, I have a little sister named Sanae, who's missing. Missing? My answer came unexpectedly to Liliana, who stood there for a moment quietly. I enrolled here to look for her. Supposedly she was last seen here. So here I am, with no sign of her. I've been looking for clues. Sorry if that's a lot at once, Liliana. I know there's nothing you can do. Forget I said anything. Mai, I want to help. Liliana rushed to clasp my hand, her eyes tearily. Wait, seriously? Yes, you just opened up to me in a way I'm sure few others have seen. That means so much. It inspires me to help you, however you need me. Liliana was dead serious, but I was conflicted. I couldn't lie to her, so I decided to let her in. Why doesn't she join us for missions that aren't as spooky? Rottie's warm smile endeared me to her. It was one of her best qualities. Aww. My, you're right. Okay, Liliana, I'd love for you to join. Okay, ready when you are. I really enjoy, I know I keep saying it, I adore the relationship between Mai and Rottie and how it develops through the course of this game. That Mai now appreciates Rottie and like says things like, I like her smile, sort of thing. I should have apologised, I'm so dumb. Why didn't things work out? Where's that voice coming from? I heard someone muttering as soon as we walked into the cafeteria. The incessant hushed chatter remained in the air, and I wondered what that gloomy soul was behind it. Then I saw Mary. God, I wish I'd never said any of those things. If only I was honest with myself, I would. She's the tsundere, if you don't recall. Oh, it's Mary. As I was trying to pick up on what she was saying, Rottie tilted her head. What's she talking about? She's starting to worry me. Should we go see what's wrong? No, I don't think we should. She's having a moment by herself. What kind of a moment? Rottie seemed confused. She's taking a moment to reflect on her failure and considering what she should have done better. She's learning. What? That sounds odd. Why do you know about that, Mai? A lot of people back home do that. A time of self-reflection, huh? Wouldn't you just get more depressed if you did that? Rottie, you're being too loud. Rottie's voice cut through the air. I tried to warn her, but it was too late. Mai and Rottie, how long have you been standing there? Here we go. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't hear anything. It's okay. You're lying. Mary's face went pale. Her hands were shaking. I mean it. I didn't hear anything, right, Mai? From when you said that, you should have apologized. What? Why did you tell her? It's more embarrassing when you try to pretend that we didn't. I looked over at Mary and her pale face began to turn bright red. You better keep what I was talking about a secret, okay? You think she'll be okay? I think so. Wouldn't you rather see a little colour in her face instead of looking like a ghost? What kind of logic is that? That rate's like, fuck, this girl's scary. I didn't get the impression that Charlie hailed from a prestigious family. Well, it's just a small printing company, really. I bumped into Charlie and invited her to eat with us. Decided to learn a bit about her family's background. Why did you come to this dorm, though? My company doesn't exist anymore. My parents were tricked by some mean people and their business folded. Our family split up shortly after that. That must have been really hard. Liliana stopped eating. Her eyes were sad. It was a huge adjustment coming here. There are so many weirdos. But at the end of the day, everyone here is cute and good and sweet, so I really do enjoy it here. You're a little weirdo too, you know. Anyway, why are you here, Mai? I have to answer too. As usual, you're straight to the point. Didn't expect to be asked that right now. I can feel a bitter look form on my face. Charlie seriously knows how to dish out some direct questions. She's merciless. We're friends now, Mai. I just want to know more about the person behind this brooding, pretty face of yours. I guess I don't mind. I came here searching for my long-lost sister, Sanae. This was the last place I heard she was, but at the end of the day I haven't been able to find her. Sanae? Yeah, I haven't heard that name before. I've asked people in the town too, and so far I haven't found a trace of her. If you ever hear of anything, I'd appreciate it if you let me know. I doubt I'd ever find any hints. I was looking at the ground as I got through my words. When I looked up, Rottie and Liliana were both looking at me. Charlie was lost in thought, but eventually she spoke the unspeakable. If you've already looked so much and haven't found a hint of her, well, maybe she's no longer here. Charlie? I mean, there's no information, right? How do you know she didn't get in some kind of accident before coming here? What are you trying to say? My heart froze. I glared at her, inadvertently directing all of my anger towards her in a single moment. Charlie gasped. Oh my god, I am so sorry. God, I said too much again. I am so sorry. I have a tendency to speak my mind. I don't mean to, but... I'm sorry, Mai. I took a few deep breaths. I refocused myself. I didn't want to direct any anger towards Charlie, who was apologizing profusely. She really doesn't mean any harm. God, just watch it. Okay. I did think that she was crass when I first met her, but I didn't know to this extent. Although, I guess I appreciate it more than her delicately tiptoeing around the subject. Are you okay, Mai? Yeah, I'm fine, thanks. Oh, Charlie, you've gone all quiet now. Ha ha. I looked at Charlie. To my surprise, she seemed very sad about it. Honestly, what am I going to do with her? Okay, I was really annoyed by you saying that, but honestly, Charlie, I appreciate how you don't hide anything that's going on in that mind of yours. Oh, thank you for saying that, Mai. She got up and hugged me, almost knocking me over in my chair. Okay. You two made up already? Aren't you glad? But how long do you plan on hugging her? Mai only lets me hug her for so long. I'm just so happy. I'm glad she doesn't hate me. Everyone was lively again. The air felt less tense. I felt relieved, but then quickly turned my attention to the meal. I don't care, but I'm going to leave you behind if you don't hurry and eat. You might have noticed a little bit in this video, but yeah, I've got a bit of a cold brewing, which is why my voice is cracking every now and then, but I'll deal with it. Oh. Liliana saw Victoria walking the other side and stopped. At the same time, she began to back up. She seemed alert. Oh, I'm not surprised with how Victoria acts. It's great to see you alone, Victoria. Good afternoon. Yes, good afternoon to you too. Rossi walked up to Victoria and she smiled. The next moment, she took Rossi by the hand. Got you. Not again. Even Rossi is prey. Rossi gave a sympathetic stare to Liliana. It seemed like Rossi was actually trying to resist. Stop! Hurry up and let me go. Okay, sorry. Victoria let Rossi go and gave her another innocent smile. You're the one I want, and you're not the one I want hugging me right now. What are you gonna do if Mai gets the wrong idea? What wrong idea would that be? Well, you know, that I'm cheating or something. I don't care about you enough for that to affect me. What? That's so messed up. Anyway, Victoria, why do you always have to hug people? You hug anyone that comes your way. Really? But today I only hugged you because it's you, Rottie. What? What do you mean by that? It's been decided that I'm leaving the dorms next year. Are you hugging people because you're going to miss them? Yeah, the one thing I was missing is the feeling of Headmistress Midra hugging me. So I tried to see if it would feel the same with you, Rottie, but I guess it's just not the same. Headmistress Midra? Yeah, I was hoping that for Headmistress Midra. Wait, why did my mother come up here? Oh, maybe Victoria is interested in the Headmistress in a different way. Wait! You said you like Chitsuba too! That's just weird! Why is it weird? I just genuinely want to hug both the Headmistress and Chitsuba. She looked like she really didn't understand why it was strange. Victoria tilted her head. Maybe her mind is too innocent to think of it that way. She must have completely different values. It's not my place, so I think you need to consider people a little bit more. Is that so? I'll try my best. Does she understand? Beats me. Whatever will be will be. Even if it didn't mean any harm, it doesn't change the fact she's hurting people. She just doesn't realise it. There's nothing you can do. Let's go. Okay, Rottie, look alive. Let's go. Hey, wait, you two. Wait, what does this mean? Does she have a crush on my mother? What am I supposed to do with that? Everybody's like, what? She's here again. I bet you anything she's here for you, Mai. I've nothing to talk to her about. As Rottie suspected, Christina came straight for me from beyond the hall. Hello, everyone. Hello. Good afternoon. Are you here for Mai? Yes, I am. What do you want? Well, I was hoping you might do me a favour and switch with me for bathroom chores today. The bathroom needs cleaning. The only reason I asked what she wanted was that she'd get the hint and move on. I didn't expect her to make demands like that. What the hell is she talking about? No. I gave her a cold stare as I refused. This really got her. I could see it in her eyes. She's the one who offended me here, not the other way around. Can you ask someone else? Also, why can't you do it? Although her asking me was completely inconsiderate, maybe it was a good reason I could consider it. Christina didn't waste any time turning my follow-up question into an opportunity. She smiled and began her story. The bathroom's way more filthy, obviously. I don't want to do it. I don't have the stomach for that sort of thing. I knew it, an idiotic reason. I didn't expect much more than that, I sighed. So, that's it. Yeah, no. What makes you think I'd feel any different about that? I cut her off and was direct with her. She didn't take this very well. Excuse me? Christina? You'll be okay, Liliana. You know how Christina is. Liliana was a little startled with how much Christina changed, but Rottie's composure seemed to soothe her enough. You have to switch with me. Why do I have to do that? What do you mean, why? I was nice to you the other day. I told you you can talk to me any time. I even gave you snacks. So a friendly gesture was a bribe. Christina was making a scene, accusing me of not understanding the situation. She was throwing a tantrum like a child. You forced a snack into my hand without even asking me if I wanted it. You also said I didn't have to pay you back for it. I was just being humble. Anyone with common decency would return the favour. Rottie, Mai's about to get angry too. Alright, that's enough, you two. What do you mean, you two? Christina's the one having a fit. Rottie, don't you think she's being rude? She didn't even thank me for what I did for her. Now, let's calm down. Rottie stepped in and diffused Christina's pushy request. Rude or not, it's your responsibility in the first place. I don't think there's a good reason for you to switch chores like that. I appreciate your sound logic. Christina's face warped into something angry. Rottie's inability to go along with her little tantrum was the catalyst, I'm sure of it. If I knew you were going to do this to me, I would never have given you those snacks. She stormed off. I always thought that Christina was a good person. I didn't know she could get that scary. Scary? She's like a tiny dog yapping away at someone through a window. Although, I agree that she lost her good person credentials today. I looked over at Rottie. So the part about her not being a bad girl didn't pan out, but she's definitely a character. Don't be so mean. I mean, we know how she can be deep down, but she usually makes up for it. I think there's something adorable about that. I'd hardly call it adorable. Is that what people do? Rottie can be a real weirdo sometimes. And last but not least, the one who can't get Mai's name right. The dumb kid. I hear someone running. You're not allowed to run in the hallway. Maybe I can tell Mother and have her put up a warning sign. Oh, could it be? Rottie looked down the hallway. Pie! The student running about looked rather familiar. Oh, it's the dumb girl. Hello! I sighed and rolled my eyes, but it didn't seem to affect Paula at all. Why are you in such a hurry? I ran into Liliana over there, and she told me you were all here, Pie. My, no matter how much you like Mai, you shouldn't be running down the hall. As Paula heard Rottie's warning, she gave a careless smile and nodded her head. Aren't you glad, Mai? No matter how scary you look, she hasn't cried. It'd be easier if she thought I was scary. I haven't met anyone like her. No matter what I tell her, she won't back off. It's starting to get annoying. And she has my name wrong. I like you, Pie. My name isn't Pie, it's Mai. If you like me, remember my name, alright? Okay, you got it. Hey, Pie! Really nice weather today. Didn't you just say you got it? She has a tendency to respond without really knowing what's going on. Either that or Pie has just become a little nickname for you. Every time Rottie brings me an analysis, I get a headache when I think about how stupid this person is. Hey, Pie, what are you doing now? If you're bored, talk to me. I'll just ignore her. It's just annoying for her to keep getting this the wrong way. I don't have to put up with this. She can do whatever she wants. Look, there's a cute flower blooming outside. Hey, Pie! I'm leaving her with Rottie and going back to my room. So I began to walk away, and Rottie grabbed me from my arm, stopping me. Mai, I know where you're coming from, but I don't think you should ignore her like that. No, I'm not talking to a girl who insists on calling me something so ridiculous. She won't care anyway. I looked at Paula, who was having a very one-sided conversation. Hey, what kind of flowers do you like, Pie? What else? Oh, would you rather eat than have flowers? I'd rather eat. Hey, Pie. Hey, Pie. Pie. Mate, you can at least respond to her. Rottie's voice changed all of a sudden. I could hear Paula begin to sob. What? Pie is ignoring me. Why is she crying now? She's been on phase this whole time. I decided to panic and looked for Rottie for advice. Rottie sighed and she began to rub Paula's back and she started sobbing. Well, you see, Paula was neglected by her parents. Whenever she realizes someone's ignoring her or they don't care about her, she gets like this. My mouth was wide open in reaction to hearing this. God, you should have told me this from the get-go. I can relate to the feeling of being neglected by your parents. I didn't know her situation, but I feel a little guilty for adding salt to the wound. Paula, listen. I looked into Paula's face and made sure that we were making eye contact. Huh? I'm Mai. M-A-I. If you call me by my name, I won't ignore you. Okay. Paula, still cryingly, awkwardly said my name. That's right. If you give me the respect of calling me by name, I will talk to you from time to time. Okay. Okay, thank you, Mai. I was worried about what you might say, but I'm glad you've made up. Rottie looked at Paula warmly and patted her head. Suddenly, I no longer found Paula's running around to be annoying. And that being said, next time on Death End Request 2, we'll be finishing the day and seeing what brings tomorrow. But until then, you guys take care now.